clear. So once a judgment in rem is given declaring something to be non-et, void ab initio, its consequences will ensue, and nobody can say that they were not heard because this was not a judgment in personam. That's paragraph 55, I underline that. And paragraph 55 then is one of those paragraphs that we see in Asma Jahangir's case, we see that in the Sindh High Court bar, and we see that now again in Khurshid Bhinder's case, and I will read this if I may. In fact, the judgment impugned has been considered in the country as well as on global level as a triumph of democratic principles and a stinging negation of the dictatorship. It is the first instance of the Supreme Court stating in a categoric, loud and abundantly clear manner that military interventions are illegal and will hardly find any colluder in future within the judiciary. The impugned judgment provides much needed redress, as it will render considerable help in blocking the way of adventurers and dictators to creep in easily by taking supra-constitutional steps endorsed, supported and upheld under the garb of the principle of necessity in the past, which will never happen again. Had our superior judiciary followed the path of non-PCO judges, the course of Pakistan's political and judicial history would have been different. The verdict has been appreciated by all segments of society for being issue-oriented rather than individual-specific, and therefore no individual, including the petitioners, should be aggrieved. The judgment impugned would encourage future justices to take the firm stand against usurpers. The judgment impugned, being in the supreme national interest, hardly needs any justification for review. The review applications, being not maintainable, are accordingly dismissed. These are the reasons for our short order dated 13/10/2009. And there's one other issue. They have not argued that before this court, that some legislation was passed subsequently whereby the Election Act has been amended. Now, the effect of that legislation has not been argued before this court, and therefore we have not addressed arguments on that. So I will leave that where it is, and I will submit there can be no legislation that takes away the will of the people expressed in a particular election. वरना तो एक पार्लियामेंट आए और वो जी पिछला इलेक्शन जिसमें हम इलेक्ट होकर आए थे इस पार्लियामेंट में, अब हम लॉ बनाती हैं और उस इलेक्शन को हम चेंज कर देंगे उसकी consequences. So you can't do that. This would be the quintessential case of a past and closed transaction. No parliament.
This amendment has been challenged separately or not by any person?
Followed because इसको हमने किया था challenge, but then came the explanation, the explanatory notes of this court saying that this amendment has no effect as regards the election of February 2024 and as regards our judgment. So your lordships.
No, that explanatory note explains only that it will have the prospective effect and not retrospective effect.
Yes, sir. Fine.
But you agree to the prospective effect?
No, sir. No, sir. हमारा तो issue अभी
I'm asking if you're not satisfied with the amendment made subsequently, whether this has been challenged, sir, the vagaries of that law.
Sir, it was challenged, but then we considered that it should not impact these proceedings. We did not want those proceedings.
It may not have any impact on these.
Fine, sir. We have every intention. Sir, we have every intention, because it is not taking any effect at the moment. The intent of that amendment was only to impact this judgment and the February 2024 election, but that has been negated by this court. This court has said no.
It has not been challenged.
It will not. We did challenge it, but then we withdrew those petitions with permission.
Where you had challenged?
So we came under 184(3). I came, Abid Zubairi Saab came, we came. But then, because we thought these proceedings would ensue, and we did not want that issue to get tagged with this issue, especially since this court had said that amendment.
You have withdrawn that petition subsequently.
So we will challenge. That is an atrocious amendment of what has been done, and we will certainly challenge it as members of society at large, not necessarily as a political party, but also as a political party.
वो तो किसी टाइम भी
जी वो हम कर सकते हैं, और हमने permission लेके वो withdraw की थी expressly कि we will at an appropriate stage do that. So that is there. So my submission is I have not addressed arguments on those amendments and the effect of those amendments, because that is not an issue argued before this court. Whenever it is argued, we will address arguments on that. Sir, दो notes और मेरे पास हैं, if I could just very quickly place these. One is on the scope of orders that may be passed under Article 199. इसमें I've listed the judgment of the Balochistan High Court and others authored by my Lord Justice Hashim Kakar Sahab. I'd mentioned it earlier. अच्छा ये हो गया submit तो ठीक है. So my Lord, this is the position now before this court. that a well-considered judgment has been delivered by this court. All the points of view which we have heard coming from the bench, procedural in terms of what facts were before the court, could 184.3 have been invoked, what is the scope of 187, 175.2 read with 187, all of these judgments that I've referred to, both in court and in my notes, have taken all of this into account. The crux is that under Article 187, your lordships continue to, despite the reference to 175.2 in 1976, exercise both plenary and inherent jurisdiction. Repeated judgments have said so, including Pir Sabir Shah. But in addition to the phrase plenary and inherent in order to do justice, there is the express reference now to Article 184.3, since at least Pir Sabir Shah's judgment, as endorsed by Dosani Travels and subsequently by this court in the judgment of which review is being sought. So there was nothing stopping this court from doing complete justice in this matter. Once the court came to the conclusion that the conduct of the February 2024 election was not quite as it should have been. The explanation and the other actions are before your lordships. And this court then was under an obligation to pass a judgment that would restore democratic justice to the country, that would restore democratic propriety to the election that had been marred by the explanation to Rule 94 and all the other actions noted in paragraph 96 of the judgment. And your lordships have done that. The 8-member bench judgment is a judgment of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. And I'm reminded of Justice Dorab Patel in a case that I'd rather not mention, where he had disagreed in the first round with the final judgment. He wanted an acquittal, but when the review came, he says, I find no reason to review the judgment of the majority with which I had disagreed. Because the judgment of the majority is now the judgment of the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and it can only be reviewed if the strict grounds available for review are made up.
Which judgment you're relying on?
Sir, I'll rather not mention it, sir.
That's why don't mention it.
Sir, it is...
This judgment is no more in favor.
So, my lord, but the sentiment expressed was that of a jurist, not of a moralist. He said, my own judicial instinct was otherwise. I wanted to decide this case differently. But now that the matter has come to me in review, I am to uphold the judgment of the Supreme Court of Pakistan with which I disagreed. But I find no reason. The review was dismissed 7-0.
On what ground? So in his book he has mentioned the grounds.
No, sir. The grounds were the same, that an erroneous construction of the law and appreciation of the facts with which one judge might have...
Reasons are assigned in his book.
Sir, वो एक मुख्तलिफ मामला है. So the dinner that he mentions in his... that's Naseem Hasan Shah Sahab. He mentions that...
No, Dorab Patel.
Okay, sir. I'll not go there, sir. But Naseem Hasan Shah Sahab...
the book of Mr. Dorab Patel.
I will revisit that book, sir. I've looked at it. But Naseem Hasan Shah Sahab's memoirs are in my mind. But I don't want to go there. Sir, my submission simply is this. My submission simply is this, that in the exercise of the review jurisdiction, your lordships have to come to the conclusion that some injustice has occurred, and that injustice has occurred because of an error patent on the face of the record.
हमने देखिए हमारे सामने केस ये है जो बातें आप कर रहे हैं कि हमें पॉलिटिकल जस्टिस करनी चाहिए बकौल आपके 10 जजेस ने पॉलिटिकल जस्टिस कर लिए अब वो दूसरे सवाल ये कह रहे हैं कि इन 10 जजेस ने गलत किया आपने ये बताना कि गलत नहीं किया
सर यही तो मैंने अर्ज किया मैंने इसीलिए आपको 2013 से इलेक्शंस का एनालिसिस दिया मैंने आपके सामने पूरा वो माहौल रखा कि किस तरह ये इलेक्शन जो था
रिव्यू के ग्राउंड नहीं बनते जो ऑर्डर 37 में बताए गए वो ग्राउंड्स अवेलेबल नहीं है
ऑर्डर 47 में because doing that would mean that people or parties that have not been granted a certain percentage of the general seats, they will be granted far more. And therefore, what has been done in accordance with jurisdiction available to this court, after taking into account all relevant facts and questions of law. Everything is discussed, even the differing points of view are discussed in the judgment, so nothing has been overlooked. That's another ground. If we go back to the 3 judgments in my paper book, Abdul Ghaffar, Wajiul Hassan and Siddiqul Farooq in particular, each one of them says that the review petitioners have to convince the court that something was overlooked. And had it not been overlooked, the judgment would have been different. And that by overlooking something, some factual or legal question the court has arrived at an unjust conclusion. That is not the case here. That is not even their case. They are not arguing that something has been overlooked. They simply want this court to act as if it was
you have covered all
an appellate court. I'm very grateful, my lords, for this very patient, kind hearing, and I rest my case for the people of Pakistan. Very kind.
Khan Sahib. Hamid Khan Sahib.
शुरू करा के